Hello and welcome once again to PDM Vlogs. Today we're going to talk about some more Spitfire Audio products. We talked before about some of their cheaper and free products, and we'll talk about a couple of their premium products today. We're going to do this in two episodes. The first episode, this episode is going to cover Hans Zimmer piano. So first up, Hans Zimmer piano. Why bother with Hans Zimmer piano? Well, I'm not a pianist, I'm a guitarist, so it could be argued that it's a bit of overkill. But I wanted a no holds barred, top of the range piano plug-in because we do quite a lot of work with piano based sort of music. There's quite a few pianos on the market, but none quite like Hans Zimmer piano. And in typical Spitfire and Hans Zimmer style, they've really gone to town with its creation. So it's a bit of a beast. It is about 450 plus gigabytes of data, which compresses down to around 200 and something when you install it. And it's got something like 60 different microphones which you can select in various combinations, and there's existing setups you can select. And a lot of reviewers have described it as having a great deal of weight and depth and top-end clarity. And having sort of tried it out, I can confirm this. So what I want to do today was, rather than talk about it and review it, which has been done before, is say a little bit about the comparison we've set up. So I've set up a Cubase project comparing 4 different pianos, including HZP, just to see where it fits and how much better it is than some of our existing pianos. At the moment we've got HZP set up with the Full and Bright preset, and I've also brought in all the surround and close mics at various sort of levels, just to give it a bit of ambience. And then but the other 3 pianos we've got are our staple, which is Steinberg's the Grand 3. We are using the Model D player. The mic positions I'm using tend to be player setups, so to give that point of comparison. A bit difficult with the Hans Zimmer, but I've basically selected a range of close, mid and room mics to give some ambience. The next piano up is our good friend Garrison Personal Orchestra, and we're using their Concert D grand piano. So Garrison Personal Orchestra, not strictly speaking a piano plugin, but it does have some very good pianos, and it's a good point of comparison because it's a much smaller and cheaper plugin. So in terms of both cost and its size, so it'll be an interesting point of comparison how their Model D squares up to the HZP. So those are all sample based. HZP, Grand 3 and Garrison Personal Orchestra are all sample based. The 4th one I'm using to compare is Arturia's Piano V, and this is a modelled, so there's no samples involved, it's just modelling, software modelling of a piano. We've recently got hold of Arturia's brilliant V collection, and this came as part of it, so it seemed a good point of comparison. So like I say, this is modelled, and again I've selected the American Grand player mic setup, and for the ambience I'm going to select the Classic Concert Hall. So those are the 4 pianos we're comparing. Hans Zimmer piano is based on a Steinway Model D. So all the comparisons we've got use Steinway Model D models as a point of comparison. So we're comparing models of the same or very similar pianos. I've also tried to replicate in each of the other pianos, apart from HZP, the ambience. So HZP has a natural ambience from the Hall Air Studios where it's recorded, and I've tried to, by ear, replicate that in the other pianos using whatever internal reverb. So there's no external reverb. Apart from that, the only processing is a bit of compression on a send and a compression on the output. There's no EQ on the output, and no saturation. And I've put a limiter on the back end just to make sure that nothing clips out. And the way we've compared it is for each one to do soft, medium and loud playing at low, mid and high octaves using the same phrase, so the same MIDI file throughout, and just compare how each one performs. So just to quickly explain before we kick the project off, so I'll just run the project and then you can listen to it. I will drop in a high-res audio file into the video to make sure that you can hear the difference. So we've got HZP at the top here in orange. We've got Steinberg Grand in red, Garrison Personal Orchestra Model D in yellow, and the Arturia Piano V in purple. And across the top here we've got soft, mid, loud. So you're starting with a low octave, mid octave, high octave. You'll get the idea when it's playing. So let's kick it off and you'll see what I mean. So what did I think of the results? Hans Zimmer piano sounds very, it's got a lot of depth and weight, and it's got a very nice high end. And also it's very controlled and even, so even when it's being pushed, it doesn't sort of break up and sort of start getting messy. Whereas some of the others do. I mean, Steinberg the Grand and Garrison Personal Orchestra stood up very well. In comparison, considering they're much cheaper and they're much smaller sample sets. I think the Grand 3 is about 30 gig, so you know, compare that to the 200 gig compressed of HZP. Arturia Piano V was an interesting one. It sounded a little bit, to my ears, a little bit processed, a little bit false. Didn't quite have the kind of the life and the kind of realism of HZP, but expecting it to you know, perform next to anywhere near as good as HZP would probably be expecting a bit much of a model piano, but it is still pretty good and very flexible. You can adjust all sorts of parameters in there. So if you want sort of an ultimate, very flexible set of modelled pianos, then I recommend it. And the rest of their model stuff, all the synth and stuff, are fantastic. So I wouldn't let that put you off. But yeah, Hans Zimmer piano, it is, as they say, the Bugatti Veyron of piano plugins. It really is, top notch. It's great to play. And I am thinking of upgrading to Artura's Keylab 88 at some point, and I can't wait to test that with a full weighted proper keyboard. But it still sounds amazing, and it cover most piano styles. There's a range of miking options from warm and soft, low and weighted, and you can mix your own sort of mic setups as well. You can create your own kind of setups. So it is a very flexible and very high quality piano plugin, and thoroughly recommended if you're looking for that real high-end virtual piano plugin. Okay, that's all for this episode. Next episode, we're going to be looking at Spitfire Audio's BBC Symphony Orchestra and comparing it to some of their free Labs plugins using a piece that I've prepared. So look out for that, and until then, see you next time. Pause for effect.